friends, this is Jenny, and I'm going to share a couple cards I did for Tonic Studios, mostly using the Tonic Craft Kit number 19. The Craft Kit number 20 is about to come out, so this was the one right before that. Also, I am going to use a lot of the new tools that have just come out, and then some other older stuff too. I'm going to do two cards that are both kind of similar in design, and so I'm going to kind of go through more of the specifics with the first card and then probably just speed up the second card a good bit. I had this idea. I wanted to do two shaker cards using the shaker die and set that they have at Tonic, which makes it really easy to do. And I've got the heart shape and a star shape, and so I kind of based that around colors I'm going to use. The heart shape one is going to be mostly things from the craft kit, and that's kind of a quick sketch. I'm going to do just the heart there, and then have a big one of the large die cuts that's part of the kit underneath it, and then underneath the other one as well, which will be a star. I'm going to use this gorgeous pad of paper that came with the kit that's called Moonlight and Rose, and I'm going to use this burnished rose. It's a satin card, and then one of the chrome silver, the frosted silver satin card, and then the chrome silver gloss card. So it's got a lot of great stuff in it. I had thought I might use this pearlescent card as the background behind the heart, but I on top of the card base, but I ended up using just a regular sort of the white pearlescent card. So I'm going to use these two. These come in the kit, and it's some of the new gems. These are the rose triads. They're like little tiny sort of rose quartz colored little triangles. They're sort of rounded triangles, and they come in 3 different sizes, and they're flat on the back to be able to adhere. So there's a nice little pot of those in the kit. And then one of the things I love about the kits are that they come with these little folders that has the number of the kit on it, and then it's got inside the dies and stamps that come with the kit. And then I think it's every third kit, you get one of these little binders that's a perfect size to fit about 3 of these inserts in, and they come like already punched, so all you do is pop those into this binder, and then you have them there to go. It's a great way to store them and keep them all together, so you know which kit they came from, and they're already organized and all that kind of stuff. So this kit comes with these neat large sentiments that are dies that are kind of they sort of have different detailed pieces on each of the sentiment, and then they have the outline with it too. And then it also comes with these smaller sentiment stamps, sort of kind of like a secondary piece of that, and then it comes with the outline die for those. So I'm going to use the larger one for the main sentiment, the smaller stamped one, and heat emboss it on each of these cards. So that's kind of the plan, and I'm going to go ahead and get started here. The first thing I wanted to do was to use this, I'm going to use this, this is the satin frosted silver card, and I'm going to trim it down to the same size, or actually I'm going to trim it down a little bit smaller than my card base, and I trimmed it down too small, and I ended up having to recut it because I thought it was a little bit too small for the, I didn't want that much of a border. So I started off thinking I was going to use this pearlescent. I think it's called Barely Blush, and it's obviously a kind of a very pale pink. I ended up using just the white pearlescent one because I felt like I had enough of the pink going on. But anyway, so I'm going to trim that down, and then see, I thought I might have more of a border, and then I wished I hadn't done that. So I think I go back and cut another piece either later or here in a minute. So these are the heart die and shaker set, and it is the coolest thing. I had the heart one. I'm sorry, I had the circle one before, but I just got the heart and the star, and so it comes with one of the the die that cuts out the same shape, and then it comes with 5 of the, they call them blisters, the sort of like shaker bubble thing. And it's a really good price for what you get for 5, I mean, you can make 5 cards or whatever you're going to do with them. And then you have the heart die after that to use with whatever. And there's heart, a circle, a star, and a sort of an oval kind of balloon shape. So that's what I'm going to use. And then that's the hello die I'm going to use. And I'm going to have it say hello beautiful underneath it. So I've got that die set up, then I've got the stamp, and then I've got the outline for it that I'm going to die cut out the heat embossed piece. So what I thought I had planned on doing was to use one of the new, and here's where I go back and cut a smaller piece because I thought it showed too much border and I wanted to have a bigger place for the actual card. I thought about putting having a die cut circle around the heart to begin with, and there just wasn't room on the card for it, and I didn't want to. I wanted it to be more the focus on the shaker part and this large sentiment. So what I wanted to do was to use a piece of just plain white cardstock. I think it's just the 90 or 80 pound Nina, and use one of these embellishment mousses that come in the kit to color just the cardstock, and then that's what I would use to die cut out that large sentiment. So I'm going to use, this is one of the new tools. It's a double-sided stencil brush or blending brush, and I am going to use, I actually ended up using both of these, but I end up only using one of them in the final card, and the colors are absolutely gorgeous. One of them is called Chai Latte. It's probably my favorite color, and it's sort of a really cream, pale peachy kind of color. And then the other one is Calypso Coral, which is also a great color. And I mean, the way the kit is put together, it's perfect. There's so many pieces that go together, you don't really have to think about it. But then at the same time, it's also got plenty of places to use with other cards or other kits, previous kits, and everything else. So I'm going to open them both up here. And what I had originally planned to do was have the detail part of the hello in the pale chai latte, and then the darker one be the background for it. But I didn't like the way that background, the coral was too orangey for the sort of the card stock, that burnished rose satin card, and I was trying to go more for a paler pink color, so I ended up not using it. But I went ahead and dipped my brush straight into the stencil brush, straight into the pot of embellishment mousse. I didn't really want to waste a lot, so I didn't put it onto my cardstock, and I did the other card a completely different way. So you'll see how that goes out later. And I really like the other way better. Now, I used these straight out of the package, and I hadn't used them before, so there were some bristles that kind of came out in the beginning there. And then once those came out, that was it. But you might want to just kind of fluff out the bristles on the brush quickly before you start to use it. So that's what the piece is going to be die cut out of once I get that done and it dries a bit. In the second card, you'll see I actually took the embellishment mousse out of the pot and put it onto my glass media mat, and I mixed it with some water and then used that with another blending brush more to give it more of a watercolory look, and I really like the way that turned out. I was trying to get a smooth kind of just solid color of this because I thought I was going to have this other color in the background. That was it real quick here. But I didn't end up doing that. So now I'm going to, while that piece sort of dries a bit before I die cut it, I'm going to mark where the heart's going to be and die cut it out. So I'm going to mark that with a little pencil. I'm going to run it through my Gemini Junior, which I just got, and I I had sort of been holding off on it for a long time, but I am really pleased with it. It's pretty amazing, and I always kind of felt like I didn't need, you know, something that wasn't hand cranked for a die cutting machine, but it really does make things a lot simpler, and it cuts these really intricate things just amazingly first time through. So I stuck that little heart die down with some Post-it tape, and then ran it through, and that is it. I can save the heart to use for something else. And so that's what it looks like behind the other card. I ended up deciding I wanted to put something behind it, and I ended up using another piece of that burnished rose satin card behind the heart. You'll see in a minute. So, all right, there's my piece of stenciled or stencil brushed blended and I can't talk embellishment mousse there, and I'm going to use it for cutting out this hello die. So I cut it with the intricate die part on that color, run it through the Big Shot, and then I'm sorry, not the Big Shot, the Gemini Junior, and then I'm going to use the outside border die of it, and I'm going to use that satin burnished rose cardstock. And I like the way those two colors look behind each other. They looked really good. And I'll just save that other piece for something else. So once I get that done, that's when I kind of decide that it might be good to have the heart have another, have that burnished rose behind it to kind of tie back with it. And then it kind of blended in with a lot of the confetti and pieces I was going to use in the shaker part. So I actually used the, I didn't use the Gemini, sorry. I used my little sidekick, which is something else that's new, and again, I thought maybe not needed, but it's so handy. It sits right on the desk. It's tiny, it's adorable, and most importantly, it's perfect for things like this, you know, just running through little sentiments and other little small shapes. And I love it. In fact, I'm going to do a little video on some of the things that I like, maybe top 5 things I bought after Creativation that I decided that were really worth it. So, and that's definitely one of them. So I'm going to, that's a little piece of burnished satin card there that's going to be behind the heart. And so now I'm going to fill it up with the things I'm going to use for my shaker bits. And this was in the kit as well. And it's the new rainbow quartz triangles confetti. And they sort of look like iridescent kind of, I don't know, unicornish, like they have a kind of a pinky purple tint to them. But they reflect all of the other colors off of it too. So I also used a couple sequins from my stash that are kind of a coral, you know, peachy color. And I used a teeny little spoonful of these Sweet Peach Circles confetti that are also as part of the kit. And they match that Coral Calypso embellishment mousse perfectly. But since I didn't use that. But it's interesting that these, the rainbow quartz triangles, that iridescent one, they kind of reflect all the colors that are around it. So it really blends in nicely. So when I got those in place, I stuck down the, peeled off the adhesive on the back of the shaker part, which is what is so handy about it, and stuck it down. And now I'm going to cover the back with some foam tape. And I'm not going to be shy about it because I like things that don't, I've had too many instances where things get kind of smushed after I felt like I was a little bit stingy with foam tape, so I'm not going to be stingy anymore. And I've had that roll for like a year and a half, maybe. Alright, so there's my card with the shaker, and then that is the die cut that's going to be placed there. And I'm going to use the Nuvo Smooth Precision glue pen, which is the perfect thing to have for this kind of a die, because it literally is just like a teeny tiny little dot of dye. So I'm going to cover that and then glue it on the front of this border piece I cut out, and I saw this little tip on somebody else had done, and after they had glued something, covered it with glue, they stuck it on the back of their hand to get a little bit of glue off, and I tried it on a piece of scratch paper, and it actually stuck a little bit to it. So actually doing it on your hand is kind of a good way to do it, and then that way you don't have any glue that kind of squishes out. It kind of just gets off the most of it without not leaving it sticky enough, if that makes sense. So now I've got my vellum. I'm going to stamp the sentiment that will be underneath the die cut piece. This is the beautiful word, and I'm going to heat emboss it using this Nuvo embossing powder that's called Copper Blush, and it is gorgeous. It's more like a kind of rose gold color too. And I've learned my lesson, so I make 2 of everything because you never know which one is not going to work. I heat up my heat tool for a little bit, and then I mostly heated it on the back side of the vellum and just a teeny tiny bit on the front. Then I'm going to trim that out and use the coordinating die to cut it out with my sidekick again. And then I'll have another one extra for something else. So I'm going to run that through. I mean, how adorable is that little thing? Perfect size. I love the plate color too. I have gotten some use out of it, you can see already. Alright, so I'm going to pop up the hello part onto some foam dots. And again, I'm not going to be shy about it. And then I'm going to use the Smooth Precision pen on the back of the vellum. And that's another place where it's good for, because there's just enough room for it to show through, to glue underneath the stamped part, but not enough to kind of show through the vellum and leave a mark for the adhesive. And then I put one little piece of a foam square underneath just the F to kind of pop it up and make sure it doesn't fall down. Once I get that on there, I am going to add some of these gems and some of the glitter drops that are also included in the kit that are the color Summer Sunrise, and it's another kind of peachy corally color that looks great with those colors of embellishment mousse. And then that will be it for that card. So that's almost it, and then I'm gonna pop those little things on there. I think I used 2 of the small size and 1 of the middle size. And so once I get this done, I'm going to start on the next card, and you'll see it's pretty much the same thing, except I use the star shape instead of the heart, and I use a Believe sentiment that's the larger die cut piece, and then I use In Yourself as the stamped heat embossed smaller piece. But what I did do, which I've never done before, is to use some of the some adhesive, double-sided adhesive paper to put glitter on, and glittered the sentiment, the Believe sentiment with that in 2 colors of glitter. And I was pretty impressed with the way it came out. I was pretty nervous about how it would happen, and honestly, it was kind of scary, but it just, I was really happy with the way it came out. The glitter stuck to it, and I, made sure it adhered down. And I think that that's probably the way to go when, at least for me, because I love glitter and I just don't love trying to clean it up too much. So I'm going to let you listen to some music while the majority of the second card goes through, and it's pretty sped up. So I will be back and talk about that in just a little bit.
a bird on a tree. I'm just sitting here. I got time, it's clear to see. From up here, the world seems small. We can sit together. It's so beautiful, you and me. We meant to be in the great outdoors, forever free. Take a step back to see the truth around you. From a distance you can tell. You and me were meant to be outdoors, forever free. You and me, meant to be in the great outdoors, forever free.
Alrighty, you can see here we are at the end. I am just finishing up the last little bits of embellishment to the card. You can see how I did the glitter, which I really was excited about. I'd never done that with especially two colors and a little bit more complicated. I've just used sort of, traditional adhesive or liquid glue, so that was pretty exciting. I'm going to try and do more of that in the future. So I'm going to just add my heat emboss sentiment here at the end. It's going to say in yourself, so it'll say believe in yourself, and I heat emboss that with the classic silver fine detail embossing powder from Nuvo. And I'm going to die cut it with the coordinating die on my sidekick and then adhere it with the little smooth precision pen. And I think that's pretty much it. You'll be able to see the close-ups here in a minute and then the final product. I really appreciate everybody's support, and I'm trying to have a few more consistent videos a couple times a week, so hopefully maybe Monday, but definitely Wednesday next week. And if you have not subscribed already, I would love for that to happen. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you have any comments or feedback, that'd be great too. I will see you in the next video. Bye.